Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Doing okay today. Really nice day here in Maine. It's like fucking in the mid 70s, cool, and just a few clouds here and there, but nothing. The sun's out bright. Great day. Everybody's really enjoying it out there today. Actually, tonight is supposed to go down into the upper 40s. Temperature-wise here in Maine, which is kind of like everybody's like, oh my god, I can't, so yeah, and it's just a reminder that the season's going the other way. We're losing daylight hours. The sunset is like at 8 o'clock, so we're gonna, we're starting to lose daylight hours, and weather's going to start changing pretty soon. We're going to get into fall here. And Christ, I went down to Dollar Tree, I guess. So, yeah, Dollar Tree and at Walmart. And Halloween stuff is already out on the on the floor. So yeah, it's like, it's a reminder. I mean, I like Halloween. Like I said, it's just disorienting. You're still trying to enjoy summer, and then you get reminded that, hey, July is over, and at the end of the month, the kids are going to be back in school, and so are the college students, and so, those are the signs that, things, fall is coming, and winter behind it. So it's hard to believe that we've already come so far in the year already. It seems like we just celebrated 2025, and now we're already getting to got 3 more months here. We'll be at the end of the year. Time is really flying. But it can't fly fast enough for my taste, I'll tell you right now. Because the sooner we get done with this year, I want the following next 3 years to be over, so we have a opportunity here to remove a Trump. Or, well, actually, you know what? I mean, he's not. I don't know if he's going to run again. Okay, I don't know. I can't say anything definite about that, whether he plans on running again or not. But if he does plan on running again, I'm hoping that we can prevent him from winning. But if he doesn't, then adios. And I'm hoping that, we end up with something better. So, at any rate, I have a video from the iHip girls, and they got some interesting issue here to take with Karoline Leave It here. So let's go to the video here, and we'll discuss it on the other side.
Propagandist and liar Karoline Leavitt has now entered the press conference world yet again. And here's the thing. She lies with such ease. It surprises me she's not even 30 that she can do it. But so yesterday, not only is she lying about wars that President Trump settled, she's stumping for a Nobel Peace Prize. Let's hear it.
The president has now ended conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, and Egypt and Ethiopia. This means President Trump has brokered, on average, about 1 peace deal or ceasefire per month during his 6 months in office. It's well past time that President Trump was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
Why is she not embarrassed? Why is he not embarrassed? First of all those things he brokered peace, he's sitting around going, I stopped all these wars. Motherfucker, you've stopped shit. You've stopped shit. Look at Ukraine and Russia, Gaza and Israel. You're bombing Iran. Like nobody except Benjamin Netanyahu, who needs you to keep funding his criminal war, is even talking about a peace prize for you. So here's my message to the Nobel Peace Prize Committee. He wants it because Obama has it. Do not give it to him. Please throw us a bone.
They're not going to give it to him. And furthermore, this is not how you get a Nobel Peace Prize. You don't trot out a woman that's cosplaying being a press secretary.
Right.
You know, that's the thing about Trump's administration that's always so striking to me. Like she's trying so hard there to be serious that the whole thing views as an SNL skit.
It does.
Views as a video produced by The Onion. And the same with Pete Hegseth, the same with Dan Bongino, that little schmuck. Did you see him when he was on Fox and he's like, I mean, it's difficult. I've got to go to the office at like 7 a.m. and I'm just surrounded by four walls. And, it's like these people, these are not serious people.
No. These
are cosplayers. These are whining titty babies. And they suck up to this deranged nut job that I think only has a 30% approval rating across the whole United States. In Europe, it's like single digit.
Right.
But I think among the American public, you've got 30% of just hateful human beings that love him. And that's it. I mean, they like him because they're just as hateful and deranged and nutty as he is.
Well, here's the thing. I always am surprised by the shamelessness of Trump and his administration. They have no shame. It is impossible for them to feel shame because she could not get up. I mean, if somebody told me, I'm going to get on camera, I'm going to lie about what you've accomplished, and then I'm going to say you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, I would hope somebody would say, please don't do that. That is embarrassing.
Remind me or not, hasn't he photoshopped like Time Man of the Year and
many
times in his office?
He absolutely has.
So, I mean,
here's
a great
the thing.
Reminder. I think we all need to understand this is a megalomaniac. This is a malignant narcissist. The Nobel, they're not going to give a peace prize to a man who sends bombs to another man, Netanyahu, who is committing a genocide right now and who has a warrant out for his arrest with the ICC. That's not going to fucking happen. This is propaganda. She is a propagandist. So she comes out and she says all of this stuff because the rubes, the hateful rubes, I want to make sure we always call Fox viewers hateful because they traffic in hate. And these hateful rubes that watch that, they just get their marching orders every day from Jesse Waters, Karoline KKK Levitt, and all these other cosplayers because their core value inside their body is hate and darkness.
You're absolutely right on that. And here's something, while Trump's big, beautiful piece of shit bill is going to take food out of children's mouths, it is going to kick up to 18 million people from healthcare. This is what Trump's planning, and she's so proud of it.
Questions. I do have one other announcement from the White House and from the president. We are proud to announce that the construction of the new White House ballroom will begin. For 150 years, presidents, administrations, and White House staff have longed for a large event space on the White House complex that can hold substantially more guests than currently allowed.
Okay. I have to point this out. He is solving a problem that administrations and presidents have been asking for 150 years. You stupid bitch. That's a lie. Everybody knows nobody called up 100 years ago and said, hey, Donald, we want this. There aren't messages in the White House that we want a gold puked room all over at the White House. But this is going to cost $200 million.
I believe, just so we're reporting accurately, that this is not taxpayer funded. The reporting that I've read is that Donald Trump is funding part of it, and he's also gotten private funding, just because I want to be accurate about our reporting. I believe that I've read that from a few sources. However, this is a time where you have federal employees that have, we used to work for the FAA to make sure planes didn't fall out of the sky, that are, packing up boxes for no other reason other than Elon Musk is a prick.
Right.
And, this is him. What concerns me about this building is this motherfucker's never leaving.
Right.
He's going to have to either come out in a body bag, or he's going to have to come out with, some form of law enforcement, troops, military, whatever surrounding him. And the reason they keep saying deep state, and the reason they talked about that the whole time, is because that's what they want to do. The purge of all these federal employees is to make sure there is nobody objective in the government. The purge of all of the generals and all of the decent, objective people in the military, by Pete Hegseth, all the purge is to make sure they put in evil loyalists that will keep him in place, that won't honor the results of an election. So what's more alarming to me about his Marie Antoinette ballroom is that he has no intention of leaving.
Right.
He sees he's made his patio, his white trash patio, where he has ruined Jackie Kennedy's rose garden, so he can sit around and be a big swinging dick with all the other crusty white people that he hangs out with. And now he's going to be over there probably listening to Ave Maria in his ballroom, because this motherfucker has no intentions of leaving the White House.
No, and he governs like that too. He absolutely governs like that. And then we have Donald Trump, who we know attacked Josh Hawley because he didn't, Congress wants to pass a bill where Congress people cannot profit from the White House. Democrats said, we're all in, include the president and the vice president. Trump goes fucking ballistic. And then Karoline Leavitt, because she is a fucking liar, gets up there and says this with a straight face.
I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process.
This is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Donald Trump has made $1 billion a month. 40% of his current wealth he accumulated since he's been president for 6 months. The meme coins, the meme dinners, all the shit. And she stands up there, which goes back to my point. These people cannot feel shame.
Well, I don't think that they think anything they're doing is shameful.
And that's even a bigger problem.
Right. It's even deeper than that. They can't feel it. It's they don't believe this is shameful, because like Karoline Leavitt runs around with her little cross. I'm sure she probably takes part in these tongue talking sessions that are going on at the White House Faith Office, because I've seen her doing some prayer and doing the whole hand up. These people are real twisted Bible thumpers, right? And they think that he is a God's vessel, imperfect vessel. And I mean, these are the type of people that think that Jesus has an agenda for the United States of America. I mean, these are the people that think that the earth is 5,000 years old. These are the people that genuinely believe a virgin gave birth to somebody and then a zombie raised up. I mean, they believe all this stuff literally. Snake, hey, eat the apple. They think all that shit happened. We have cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, magical thinkers, Iron Age thinkers running the White House, and they have it in their mind that Trump is working with Jesus. They do. It's fucking crazy, but that's what they think, Angie. And if people don't realize it, and it doesn't really ever get covered, but his base, they think it. They think like Trump and Jesus are BFFs.
Yeah, you're right. I know you're right. But just when you say it out loud, it sounds so.
Because the press doesn't even cover it. We've got religious whack jobs running the government, putting forth this Iron Age thought process. And they justify it all by saying, God picked Trump because sometimes God picks imperfect vessels. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Absolutely. And then I just want to end on this, because I know there's so many huge, big issues that we have right now. And this is just one of my petty grievances with this White House. It's just petty. Don't govern from Truth Social. Don't govern at a press conference. Govern like a real person, like a serious.
Get legislation and run it through House and Senate.
Absolutely. So here is what shameless Karoline Leavitt did yesterday about pharmaceuticals, that Trump's going to increase the prices on because of his tariffs. Okay.
Ready to assist with implementation questions. Thank you for your immediate attention to this vital national priority. Signed, President Donald J. Trump. Again, to the CEO of Eli Lilly. This letter, in its form, has been designed for each of the 17 major drug and pharmaceutical companies in the United States, and we're happy to provide you the full list. And I believe you will see all 17 letters popping on Truth Social very shortly.
Of course.
Why is everything a show and tell with them?
I don't know.
It's like they're in kindergarten. He does it when he signs something. It's always this stupid show and tell stuff, right? And then, like, thank you for your attention to this matter. I mean, it's just we've elected low information religious nut jobs, and they're running the federal government of the United States of America right now. And the mainstream media just rolls out. Karoline Levitt reported today that Trump has brokered a deal with pharmaceutical companies and talked about, like, all this shit is fucking normal. And this woman she is a fucking crazy person. She is crazy. Hexeth crazy. That Christy Nome, she's a batshit crazy fucking cunt of the highest order on the planet. And their boss is McCankle's Taco Tits, who runs around criticizing everybody's appearance all the time. And he's got the cankles. I've never seen cankles so big in my life. And I saw a picture of Don Jr. the other day running around. He's got some man boobs. Let me tell you. Yeah. I mean, that man could wear a man bra. No disrespect. I'm not for making fun of people because of their physical appearance. My point is the family that constantly criticizes all of the way people look, the way people dress. You got the vice president of the United States running around with a goddamn smoky eye. You got Christy Nome playing dress up left and right. Here we got Taco Tits' son.
My bra wouldn't fit him.
That is the son of Taco Tits right there running around, needs a goddamn bra.
At least a nipple cover, if nothing else.
And he sits around and browbeats Hunter Biden left and right nonstop. I think Hunter Biden needs to troll the shit out of little Don Jr. here. Don Jr. needs a bra. And I would think that since daddy's making $1 billion a month, as you so brilliantly reported, we could afford to get a brassiere on Donald Jr. Maybe they could get a little cross. Maybe they could start selling the merch. Man bras for MAGA.
Man bra for MAGA. And instead of a nipple cover, just have a cross where the nipple cover should be.
MAGA man bras. That he runs this goddamn online flea market, Riff Raff, Knick-Knack City. I think they need to have the MAGA man bra. Trump needs one for sure.
100.
The tits on that man. Oh my God. And then surely we could get some sort of slimming sock for his ankles and just a better cover up. The thing is, if you're going to be a billionaire and you're going to make $1 billion a month and you're going to rip off the American tax paper and you're going to do all that shit, come on, dude. You're all about aesthetics. You're constantly criticizing everybody's appearance. And so I want better socks. I want better tailored suits. I want you in a goddamn man bra. I want it sucking everything up. I want better makeup choices. I mean, at least put your best foot forward. But Don Jr. and Donald Trump are absolute physical train wrecks that need bras.
They need bras. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel. As Jennifer said earlier, we're getting dangerously close. I dropped my phone. And here's our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. Please subscribe.
It's called the Nobel Peace Prize, not the Nobel Peace Prize, Karoline. She can't even say it right. And who in their right mind would say that Trump deserves that other than MAP? Okay. Why would MAP, of course, you know why they would do it, right? Because they're sycophants. It's a cult. But with Karoline, I mean, you see the way she was reading that right off the paper there, a script. I mean, it's not even coming out of her own mouth. It's basically that, written for her to utter, and she does it boldly and with a straight face, and it's like, you know what, you're sick. I mean, here's a 27-year-old girl who's married to a 60-year-old man who's rich, and she has the greatest gift of lying that any press secretary or whatever I've ever seen. Okay, to be so young and to be such a capital class liar, that's something, folks. I tell you, it's not good. But to go out and say, oh, he ended this, he ended that, all the wars he ended. He didn't end nothing. Why is it there on the news you're seeing still the wars are happening? Why is it you're seeing the fighting going on still in Ukraine? Why is it you're still seeing battles going on back and forth in Israel, and why they're going into Gaza. Okay, what the hell did he end? You know, it's just what I think this is just another attempt at distraction. She comes out with this big, oh, I got an announcement. I want him to have the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, out of the blue, this comes out. Distraction. That's the first thing that came to mind. They're trying to get us to talk about that instead about the Epstein files. Okay. And from what I've seen over the last week or so, no one's really buying all these other bullshit stories that the press keeps putting out there about Trump. About these other things like this and a lot of other stuff. Okay. No one is really interested in hearing any more lies to distract us from what we want. People are still focused on wanting to get that list. People want to see the fucking list, and, for people who think that it's a non-issue, I'm sorry. It's been an issue for years. This has been an ongoing story about Jeffrey Epstein and the people associated with him that's been going on for years, and it hasn't got to end yet. It hasn't ended yet because the people involved are still walking, okay? The victims involved in this are still alive. And as long as that's going on, there's not going to be a statute of limitations on this problem, okay? I'm sorry if that offends some of the MAP people out there, but this has not ended yet, okay? A crime has been committed on a global scale involving our president, okay? Your beloved fucking orange president was involved in this thing. We want to know how deep it goes with him. All right? That's what we want to know, because I think for a lot of people right now who regret voting for Trump, they want to know the dirt on this guy to justify them turning their back on this man. I think that's what this is really about, is a lot of people who voted for him, they want to dump his ass. They don't want to admit that they were wrong voting for him. They want to dump him because, I found out he was involved with it. Of course, they knew that already, but it gives them an out. It gives them an exit. There's an exit sign on the door. They want to take it, okay? By saying, I don't support this man because he's a pedophile. He went after these women when they were just, underage. Then all of a sudden now it's justified that they all turn their back on him. This is an exit for them. And Trump doesn't want to give him that fucking exit. He wants them to stay loyal. No matter whatever comes out about him, he wants them to stay loyal. Hence all the fucking drama there, like this fucking bullshit about the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, distraction. Well, what did it do? She gets out there and she announces this fucking thing, right? And what did it do? It pissed everybody off. It did exactly the opposite of what they were hoping. It just adds more fucking gas on the fire that's burning, which is the Trump White House. And then this bullshit about a ballroom. Really? At a time like this, when people are losing their jobs, their pay is low, okay? Inflation is high. It hasn't gone down since he took office. Okay? He's talking about spending, I don't care whose money it is, spending money to build a ballroom. So that goes to show you he's not thinking about us. He's thinking about himself. He's thinking about, I want something here long after I'm dead and buried that people are going to have to look at and say, that was Trump's fucking thing. He wants his name set in the White House lawn, basically. So that way, no matter what happens, he's going to have an imprint of his ass somewhere in D.C. That's what this is about. Okay? He knows he ain't got long left to live. So he wants a legacy here where no one can actually ignore that he existed. Because that's what everybody wants. People want to get rid of everything that Trump ever did. But he's in D.C. and he's redecorating all around that, so everybody knows it was him that created all this. This is the way it was before. Here it is today. They want something left to him to say, we never had a ballroom until Donald Trump got president. Okay, that's what this is about. Okay? Because he knows everybody hates his ass, but he knows in the future, okay, generations later, people are going to look at that and say, this was, a historic thing here. They never had anything like this until Trump became president. And they won't talk about all the bullshit that went on, that we're going through right now, they'll talk about that instead. If they want something good about him to talk about. I mean, can you imagine his fucking historical library whenever that's done? Who in their fucking right mind's gonna go see that? Jesus. And you know he's gonna make it the most expensive thing there is, so that way it's better than all the other presidents' museum. All right, so it's crazy. It's just him showboating like he always does. You know, a Trump Tower in the fucking in Washington D.C. basically. So he's making a ballroom. Okay, well I'm glad the taxpayers, if it's true that they're not paying for it, but this is really about him keeping his name etched in stone. Okay, if he can't have his face on Mount Rushmore, he's going to have something done on the White House lawn. Okay, so that way nobody can forget. Okay, that he was there. That's what this is about. And I think it's narcissistic, really, to want that, because no leader, if he's really a moral and ethical person, would expect that, oh, I want statues made of myself and I want this made in my name. Okay, no, these people are supposed to be humble servants of the American people. Okay, they don't ask to have an aircraft carrier named after them. Okay, that happens without being asked if the person is worth remembering. But is Trump going to be worth remembering after he's done with his fucking time as president? I don't think so. And I'm certain that people are not going to want to remember that fucking ballroom after it's built, that, you know, Trump had it done. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen with that, honestly. If someday another president gets there and they decide, you know, Trump was such a lousy, we're going to tear this fucking thing down. You know, I don't know. I mean, whatever can be built can be unbuilt, I guess, if they choose to do that. Somebody could say, oh, well, the ballroom's too small, we need a bigger one. You got to get rid of this one. You know, I don't know. But the fact that Trump's paying for it, I guess, we'll just say that he is until they find out otherwise. The fact that he's putting his money into it suggests that he is trying to buy a legacy there that can never be erased, unless it's blown up something. Okay, and that speaks to his narcissism. Okay, his egomaniac. Okay, and he's got everybody in his administration, you know, pampering him and letting him do this stuff, helping him to do it. You know, while the country suffers, while the American people lose their health care, their Social Security, okay, while people are going through this right now because of him, okay, he's trying to, I want the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm going to have a ballroom built, you know. It kind of reminds me of Lex Luthor in Superman the movie. He's got this great big elaborate room in an abandoned section of a subway. It's got all the comforts, you know, you could imagine, and he brags about it being, oh, this is the best piece of, you know, off an elevator you can get. You know, it's like that's Donald Trump. You know, he's trying to make himself an empire, you know, on someone else's land, basically. And it's like, you know what? I mean, it's not the idea that he doesn't plan on leaving. He's going to leave one way or the other. Okay, his days are he's got fewer days ahead than he does behind. He's going to be gone anyway, no matter what. This is about legacy building. He's about creating things that no one will be able to deny he did. Okay, and that will continue people talking about it, and that'll give those sycophants that are still left behind after he's dead and buried something to you know, sell, something to talk about. So that way, through time, people will stop thinking about Trump was a bad president. They'll say, well, he did this, he did. They'll try to find something good, which really wasn't good. Okay, they'll try to change the narrative about this man, so that way history looks back on him with a kinder attitude. Okay, kind of like what we did with Nixon, I think, in a lot of ways. The years after he resigned, you know, historians, you know, kept playing up the you know, the trade deal he made with China and stuff like that. and some of that was echoed in his funeral, you know, by some of the other former presidents. They tried talking him up, you know, and certainly that's what they're trying to set up here for Trump, is because he's the most hated president we've ever had in this country, and such a failure to those who voted for him, that they are trying to work on cleaning up his image. Why? Maybe because they hope to get somebody like him again elected and say, well, we've had a guy like him before and he did all these wonderful things, you know, we can have that again. So what does that tell you? Okay, it tells you these people may not have learned their lesson yet. Okay, a lot of these people, the 30% of this country that the IHIP girls pointed out, that are just loyal to him no matter what he does. Okay, I call those the MAP people, because they support a pedophile, okay, an adjudicated rapist. That's your 30% of this country that are part of his cult. That also happens to be the approval number of the president right now, which means it's going to stay there at that level because it can't get any lower. You're hitting actually right on bedrock. Okay, that's the bottom. In other words, no matter what happens while he's president, 30% are still going to like this guy, because that's the fucking core of the MAP movement right there. That's it. 30%. Okay. Though, no matter what he does from here on out, it's all going to be fine with them. A-OK. They don't care. You know? And the only way these people will change their mind, I think, is if they either die or something bad happens to them because of Trump. And it has to be pretty bad. It's going to have to be really, really bad for them to change their mind, because a lot of these people, okay, they've already been victims of what Trump has done, and yet they still come out and say, I still support him. You know, they're defiant. That means, you know, whatever happened then wasn't bad enough to make them change their mind about Trump. They just, no, they're going to be stubborn. Stubborn people. And believe me, there are levels of stubbornness in humanity that defy logic. And we've hit that right now with that 30%. Those are the people who are so stubborn, they defy all logic, which means they don't have any reasoning power at all. These people are just blind loyalists. They are the zombie right wing, the extreme arm of the right wing. Those are the zombie people. These people are programmed to follow whoever the hell's leading them, as long as they got an R next to their name. That's who they are. I feel bad for them, but at the same time, what can you do? You know, you can't cure a zombie. You can't cure stupid either. And you can't make these people not stubborn, because that takes a lifetime to learn to be that stubborn. I ran across a few nuts like that when I was in the military, okay? They joined the military just like everybody. I told you people, military is as diverse a fucking population as the civilian world. So just because they wear a uniform doesn't mean they all think alike. That's one of the things that people think about troops and all that, is that if they're wearing a uniform, they all have the same mindset. No. They are not. Okay? They wear a uniform, that means they all work on the same job. Just like, you know, everybody that wears a blue vest that works at Walmart, they ain't all the same. They don't all think the same. They ain't all talk the same or believe in the same thing. They just work there. Okay? Military's the same way. Just like the police is the same. Okay? They all wear the same uniform, but they're all different up in here. Okay? Every damn one of them. So, when I'm talking about, the MAP movement there, make all Americans pedophiles, these are the people who, if there was a uniform, they'd all be wearing it, but their uniform is up in here, okay? And they are loyalists. They will die with this fucking guy if they have to. But there's a line that they won't cross. At some point, they're going to have to come to it, you know, depending on how much Trump is going to drag these people through the mud to get to it, okay? And I don't know if that day's ever going to come. I know that all the other people who are not like that have already jumped ship on him already, okay? That's why his approval number is so down. That means those people who were not quite MAP, all right, that gave him the numbers he needed to win, all those people have already left. So if we were to have the election today, he would lose by a fucking huge fucking number, okay? If Kamala was to run against him now, she'd win by a fucking landslide. I don't care if she was female or black or both. I don't care. He would lose now. The momentum against Trump is building. It's bigger now than it ever was, even during the campaign, okay? You don't need to have rallies right now to get people energized. Okay, we don't need to have big speeches from famous people to get us motivated to side against him. It's happening. It's fucking happening all over the fucking place. All right? People are wising up to what Trump is doing, what the Republicans are trying to do to keep him supported in an office, because the upcoming midterms are around the corner. Okay, hey, people are wising up to it, and they're getting stubborn themselves because, like I said, this Epstein crap ain't going away. It's not going away. We're going to be talking about this for a long time. All right, no matter what else is going on in the world, I don't care if he starts World War III. People are going to be more focused on getting to the truth of that before finding out what he did to start World War III. Okay? But right now, like I said, there's people looking for an exit to get away from him. And right now, that Epstein door, that exit is right there. And they want to go through it. And they ain't going to go through it until they have unrefuted evidence that Trump was involved deeply with this fucking guy, Epstein. Okay? Which, you don't have to prove to me. Okay? I believe that he was. That's my opinion. I believe that he was. Okay? You don't write letters to each other the way they were worded if these two people weren't in cahoots with something nasty. All right? These were two peas in a fucking pod, the both of them. They had something in common, and that was their sinfulness, if you will, for those of you that are Christian, okay? Their sinfulness brought them together. That was what they had in common, all right? And the fact that they had these parties at Mar-a-Lago, where, Trump's home, Christ, do you really need me to connect the dots for you? Okay? Imagine if you had a kid, okay, or someone that was hanging around with a guy like Epstein, and you knew Epstein was into little girls and stuff like that, but you knew somebody was hanging around with this guy. Wouldn't you start to think, what the hell is he up to with this guy? Of course you would. Anybody would. You would be stupid not to think that. Humans by nature are always, survivalists first, okay? We think about what troubles there could be, what to avoid, okay? And if we know there's a guy around there that's trouble, all right, that's doing things, he's got a sex trafficking thing going on, okay? And this is happening, and somebody has been coming and going out of this guy's house for years. How many years did he know this guy? What, 20? Decades? Okay. For all this time, back and forth with this fella, giving each other birthday cards and all these, come on, people. If his name ain't on the list, okay, then he never knew Epstein. Okay? If his name ain't on the list. But look at the private jet he's flying around in. It used to belong to Epstein. Okay? This guy, what the hell? I just, like I said, I don't know why people think there's nothing there. There's a lot there. There is a lot there. And people that have been close to Trump, have said things that, yes, his name is in there. And if it's redacted, then that's only because they're trying to take his name out of these things. Okay? And so we shouldn't believe anything released from the FBI or anything like that that's got any redactions in it. If there is, there's only one reason that there is. Okay? It's because his name is in there. Something pointing directly to Trump is in there, and they will not allow that to be seen by the public, you know? That's why I'm saying, yeah, he's heavily involved in that. I mean, that all these distractions, all these fucking things happening, that he's trying to get people to stop talking about. Of course, that's what this is about. It's like any little kid that tries to, you know, if he stole something or, you know, and that's like, and he's making up a story that, oh no, God gave it to me or something like that. Okay, same fucking thing. He's creating lies. He's creating a narrative, trying to get you distracted. He doesn't want people talking about it. And the minute we stop talking about it is when he wins, is when he gets away with whatever the fuck that he did wrong. And all those victims that we haven't really seen yet, okay, or heard from yet about this, all of a sudden now, they don't matter anymore. Okay? That's pretty sad. I mean, imagine, you know, you have somebody, you know, who was victimized by this man, and now everybody's turned against them because, oh, we don't want to hear what you have to say because it will hurt us. You know, we don't care what he did to you. You know, what you have to tell us about that night or that day or that all those times. We don't want to hear about that because it's going to make us think badly about the person that we care about, that we want. You know what I'm saying? Selfishness is what takes over there. And if we don't keep pressing on this thing, if we don't keep pushing to get the truth out, then he wins. I don't want that fucking guy to win anything else here, people. He's won enough as it is. All right, it's time for him to start losing, because he hasn't earned our fucking loyalty. Just because people voted for him doesn't mean that he's earned a goddamn thing. He's lost a lot of those fucking people already that voted for him. He hasn't earned our respect. He hasn't earned the right to be called a president. When you got approval numbers that low, technically, you can't be really referred to as a president because the majority of the country isn't behind you anymore. All right? You got to have the majority in order to become a president, but when you lose that majority, are you still a president? Think about that for a minute. Now, I'm not saying Trump was ever a president to begin with. He doesn't lead like one. He leads like a dictator. So he's the first dictator we have had in America running our country. He's not a president. But I'm just saying, for the sake of discussion here, that when you're voted in there as president by a majority of votes, or electoral votes, or however we want to call it, and then you lose that fucking majority after you've been put in there, in other words, you're not president no more because the majority of the country doesn't stand with you. Let's go to commercial break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Alligator Alcatraz, an impregnable prison camp surrounded by miles of the most deadly parts of Florida. Poisonous snakes, fierce and hungry alligators, miles of unmapped swamps, storms, hurricanes, fierce heat. No one's getting out of Alligator Alcatraz. The people in Alligator Alcatraz are subhumans, the worst of the worst. Alligator Alcatraz is going to teach these criminals a lesson. If you're upset by Alligator Alcatraz. Just wait, because when the Trump era ends, we're keeping it open for the corrupt crypto scammers like Don Jr., who cashed in on the presidency. Keeping it open for folks like Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, and Tom Homan, who ignore the law, ignore court orders, and deploy masked cops in warrantless raids. We're even keeping it open for the state and federal agents who abuse their power. You built this, MAGA, and some of you will enjoy the view from inside the wire.
Stephen Miller designed it. Donald Trump demanded it. Kristi Noem and Holman ordered you to do it. Illegal deportations, mass raids, rounding up people who are here legally, arresting citizens, family separations, snatching students off the street for tweeting, detention without hearings, shipping them to foreign prisons, deportations defying court orders. When government agents like you abuse your power, when you trample civil and constitutional rights, you can be held personally liable in civil court. You can lose everything, and Trump can't pardon you. That includes ICE, that includes CBP, contractors, DOJ, even the White House. Yep, every last Trump official pulling the strings. Even, well, especially the lawyers. If you think you're safe behind badges and titles, you're wrong. You do a hard, dangerous job. You're vital to our security. But what they have you doing now isn't law enforcement. It's just lawless, and you'll pay the price for following illegal orders.
Never mix salt with these two ingredients if you don't want your hose to be rock hard tonight. Every time you see an older man with a young woman, you can bet he's using the salt trick. In fact, I've been left unable to walk for more than 4 days because of it. This talk about women only wanting money is just an excuse from guys who can't perform in bed. What women really care about is whether a man can heat things up in the bedroom and keep everything working. Having worked in the adult industry for many years, I discovered this after watching a video by Emily, a friend and former adult film star. In the video, Emily reveals that every man has a little hidden button on his body. When activated, it can make even 80-year-old men stand tall and be ready to handle any young woman for 2 straight hours. Dr. Jack Jordan scientifically proved this, and the method works so well that it makes your body stay rock solid whenever you want. All you need is the salt recipe in the morning with a bit of warm water. It takes less than 15 seconds. Fun fact, this recipe was banned for over 40 years because it threatened the sales of the famous little blue pill in pharmacies. After the video about salt featuring the ex-actress went viral, I can now share it here. Just click the link in the description or the pinned comment to access everything you need to make this recipe. Watch the video alone because it includes some very steamy practical demonstrations. Jack shows exactly how to do it and the results it delivers instantly. Everything you can imagine happens right in front of the cameras with nothing censored. So grab your headphones, click the link below, and get ready for content so hot it might even make you want to join in yourself.
I thought I'd just get head spins, not nicotine poisoning.
Oh my god. His vape taped. I wanted to be social. I didn't want the addiction that took over.
I thought it was just a bit of fun, but not being able to breathe because of lung damage is definitely not fun.
It's proven that vapes cause real harm. Every vape is a hit to your health. For more proof, search vaping harms.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so here's this article here from Daily Dose. Let me read this. Trump gets real creepy about his press secretary. The President of the United States, who was 79 years old, took time out of a recent interview to wax lecherous about his recent interview about his 27-year-old press secretary. Quote, "It's that face, it's that brain, it's those lips, the way they move like she's a machine gun," unquote, said Trump, unprompted. First off, ooh. Secondly, ooh. Thirdly, his obsession with her physical features makes it very clear he's not beating the allegations that he only sees women as sex objects that exist for his personal enjoyment, and all the implications that has for his involvement in the major sex trafficking scandal surrounding his pedophile ex-best friend Jeffrey Epstein. You see what I'm saying about how things that he says, things that he does, reveal more of the truth than whatever anybody say or he says or anything? Okay. He opens up all the time to see his ugliness, okay? Which is why I said in the previous thing, you know, I know this guy's fucking guilty. I know he was involved in it. I know he had sex with underage girls. I know he did, okay? As a juror, that would mean something, okay? That I would see him that way. In fact, they wouldn't put me on the jury because I had already made up my mind about this guy. But the fact is, a lot of people in America are thinking just like I am. They know what this guy is. And the fact that he's saying this shit about a 27-year-old girl, okay, that, you know, lies like like crazy. And now he's having fantasies about her, okay? I'm sorry. You know what? I know it's making people sick to their stomach of me saying this shit, but look, if it's making you sick to your stomach to hear what he said about her, then come on, people. Does it take that much to take that extra step to say that he's a pedophile? Okay? Does it really need to go? Do you really need to make such a stretch to get to that point with him? Come on. You know, people in juries can make stretches like that to convict people that have done crimes. All right? If the American people are a jury right now, okay, what would you say? After seeing all these things, hearing the things that he said, about his things he said about his daughter over the years. Come on. Maxwell gets a massive gift from Trump in prison. Serial sex trafficker and rapist Ghislaine Maxwell quietly was moved to a cushy, lower security federal prison camp in Texas. Oh, not the alligator Auschwitz. The Bureau of Prisons did not offer any explanation as to why this move was made or what justified it, but given Maxwell's recent meetings with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the swirling rumors of a pardon for her silence in the Epstein scandal, it's clear that we have a government by pedophiles for pedophiles. Which is why I've been calling MAGA MAP, because all that's left now that support him are the pedophiles, the ones that don't think Trump should answer for that. You know, Trump unloads on vulnerable GOP senator Jordan from Maine. Susan Collins has done nothing but rubber stamp Trump's entire agenda, except his big awful bill. Her reward: public attacks by Trump, who recently posted Republicans when in quote, when in doubt, vote the exact opposite of Senator Susan Collins. Generally speaking, you can't go wrong, unquote. Trump's attack on his own Republican senator sets up a huge opportunity for her Democrat challenger, Jordan Wood, who was running to flip her seat and help retake the Senate from the GOP. Jordan's a fighter who won't take a dime of corporate PAC number. Let me tell you what Trump's done here. He's trying to make it look like he's supporting Jordan, okay, the Democrat. Why? Because when people think that, they're not going to support Jordan, and she'll win. Susan Collins will win. If people think that, oh, Trump is talking nasty to Susan Collins, which means, you know, he's supporting Jordan, okay, people automatically think, oh, well, this guy, you know, he's corrupt because Trump's helping him or whatever, and so they'll turn around and vote for. This is what do they call it? Psychological, you know, play. He's trying to trip up Jordan. And the thing of it is in this state, the people in Maine are sick and tired of Susan Collins, okay? We're tired of people in this state voting for the name you know. And every time she gets voted back in there, she does more shit to piss people off. So it's like, look, people, if you want to fucking change the way things are, you need to get rid of her first, okay? And get somebody in there who isn't tied up to every fucking corporation or whatever she's getting all of her fucking money from. Okay, and it's very obvious if you've lived in this state long enough and you watch the TV and you see the commercials, okay, especially before the big beautiful bill was signed, everything was, you know, all pushing Collins as the answer. Okay, they did that because they wanted her support to get her to sign on to that fucking thing. Okay, that's what they wanted. They were building her up, saying things about her that weren't true. Okay, because she sided with Trump on a lot of things that we lost in the state. But they needed her support to vote. So what they do? They put these ads here to build her up at this point right now where, you know, her seat's up for grabs. You see? So Jordan Wood, who's challenging her, okay, and right now, you know, he's got a lot of momentum right now because a lot of people are not too happy with Collins right now, at least down here anyway. I don't know about Northern Maine. Northern Maine is what put her there in the first place. But Jordan Wood running against her, the only thing they can do, they can't build up Collins, but what they're going to do is tear down Wood. And if they can link his name to Trump, okay, that might diminish him enough where Collins can squeak out a fucking victory, okay? And that's what we don't want to see happen here. I don't care, you know, about, you know, what other people say about Susan Collins. Oh, she's the best senator we ever... No, no. I'm sorry. If you've lived in this state here as long as I have, you'll know that Collins has done absolutely zero for this fucking state. It's always been 30, 40 years behind the rest of the country, and they keep it that way. We've seen a huge sucking sound of population, young people leaving the state. That's why we have the oldest population in the country. Of all the states, Maine has, it's mostly elderly people live here. Okay, the young people, they can't stay in the state. There's no work here. Nobody can make a living here. I was just having that discussion earlier today at that fucking Texas Roadhouse with a couple of young waitresses here, okay, at the bar, and you know, they were telling me, you know, one of them's fixing to get married, and they were talking about, is there a way we can buy a house? And they were laying out the pros and cons of it, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Both of them working, you know, combined, what was it, 50 hours, and you know, it's like they're both together working like 140 hours a week, and getting a house in this state with the wages they're getting with that many hours they've put in doesn't look good, because it ain't just getting the house, it's you got to take care of it, you got to pay the taxes on it, you got all these responsibilities that come with that monster when you get a house. Okay, you're always going to be cash poor. You're never going to have money to do a fucking thing but work. Okay, and you know, you get a mortgage, it's always going to be 30 fucking years. So what are they now? What, they're like in their mid-20s or something, so they'll be like, you know, almost 60, you know. And God forbid that either one of them gets sick, you know. Think about it, you know, to get a house. I mean, I know parents my generation, their parents, they're my age, okay, they think, oh, you should start off, get a house. That's the first thing that comes out of their fucking mouth, get a house. Well, that's what we did when we were kids, and we got started off young in our 20s. We went focused to get a house. You know, a lot of those people that are my age, they lost that house. Okay, during that time, was it 2007, 2008, the housing crisis? A lot of people that graduated with me, they lost their homes in that fucking thing, because during that time, up to that point, a lot of these people accrued a great deal of debt along the way, either through medical bills, or they were using their house as an ATM, you know, getting home equity loans and stuff like that, and they put their house on the line for every single one, and at the end, they lost the house, they lost the whole thing. All right, so now they're living, you know, in another state somewhere, some of them, in an apartment. Okay, so now their kids are out there trying to start, and they can't even get to that point of even getting a house. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You know, it's sad to see that the American dream is even further from our grasp than it ever was before. Okay, the American dream is just that, a dream. I think it was who was it that said that? It was Carlson or somebody, I don't know, some comedian said the same thing. I can never remember the guy's name, but he said the same thing. It's a dream. That's the only way you can believe it, because it's a dream. It doesn't exist. It's been taken away from us. When you don't have the ability to get out from whatever level of economic ladder you're standing on, when you can't do it, that's what we mean by the American dream is gone. Because there was a time when people could start in poverty and end up being wealthy in their life simply by hard work and being smart. But even that's not enough anymore. That's not enough anymore. So, but Susan Collins is not one of those people who's been very good, especially in the last 10 years, I think. She's really been more of a rubber stamp for a lot of Republicans. And she's been getting, you know, on the side for her vote. She's really not doing anything. Okay, here's this other thing. We are dying slowly, save us. Starvation takes hold in Gaza after a week of appalling milestones. The people of Gaza did not need this week's official confirmation from UN-backed hunger experts that the worst-case scenario of famine was unfolding there. For months, they have watched as their children waste away. Quote, all my children have lost nearly half of their body weight, unquote, said Jamil Mugari, a 38-year-old from Maghazi in central Gaza. Quote, my daughter, who was 5 years old, now weighs only 11 kilograms. My son, Mohammed, has become just skin and bones. All my children are like this. Over the course of the week, Gaza passed two appalling milestones. The official Palestinian death toll passed 60,000. although the real figure, including those buried under the rubble from Israel airstrikes, is likely to be far higher. The human cost is likely to continue to rise steeply as starvation catches up with bombs and gunfire as an indiscriminate killer. On Tuesday, the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, the IPC, a panel of experts from the UN and other aid organizations which had long warned of the threat of famine, confirmed that the line had been crossed. Among the horrors the Israel-Gaza war has brought to its people, the torture of parents seeing their children starve and being powerless to save them is surely one of the worst. Quote, "My youngest daughter is 14 years old, and her ribcage bones are clearly visible due to extreme weakness and malnutrition," unquote, said Abu al-Abed, a father from Deir al-Balah. Quote, "I have 4 daughters and 3 sons. They suffer from dizziness and fatigue because of the lack of food. If I, their father, feel this way, how much worse must it be for them?" And the MAP party wants to give Trump a Nobel Peace Prize, or as KK Karoline Leavitt says, a Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, this is a guy who she says stopped the war, right? No, he didn't. He's been giving bombs to Netanyahu to do what he's doing right there in fucking Gaza, my friends. That all them people starving, the kids and all them. Does that sound like a person who deserves a Nobel Peace Prize to you? He's actually facilitating another madman's whim to eradicate a whole bunch of people so they can claim that and turn that into beachfront property or something. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Netanyahu is Hitler returned. He came back as a Jew. Okay, that's the way I look at Netanyahu. He is Hitler and, you know, returned, because Hitler would do the exact same fucking thing. I want you to think about that, okay? I'm sorry if people are really pissed that I said that about this man and say, "Oh, you don't know the Jewish history." I don't need to know the history. All I need to see is the inhumanity of what's being done. That is enough. There is no excuse for treating people that way. There is no excuse. Yes, I understand who fired on October the 7th, okay? I understand that, but that was already retaliated against afterwards. This continues only because Netanyahu wants it to continue. This goes on, the bloodshed goes on because Netanyahu won't talk about a ceasefire. A door was open to him when Biden was president to come over here, and our president and him were going to try to work something out to bring that to an end, and he said no. Instead, he comes over here and speaks only to the people who supported him, which at that time, it was just Republicans. All right? So, Netanyahu was ignoring reason. He was ignoring the call of humanity to do the right thing. In his head, blood was all that needed to be done. Spilling the enemy's blood. Getting after them. Then after that, we're going to Iran. We're going to start fighting over there. All he needed in order to keep that going was an idiot president, okay, who would support him, and he got it. He got it. Netanyahu's got Trump's fucking number. He's pulling Trump's nose hairs to keep things going over there, and we want to call him a Nobel Peace Prize winner. You see how convoluted, you know, things are right now. Come on, people. Wake up. He ain't no fucking great leader that deserves to have a legacy in Washington, D.C., a ballroom built, a face carved on a fucking mountain, okay? He's the villain of American society. He is the anti-American. The one person that our founding fathers did not want to see put in a fucking position of power has happened. It took 250 years, but it happened. And in the way that I look at history, I see this as a chapter closing and a new chapter beginning. What's going to close? Could be the United States. What opens could be something completely different. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that Trump is the closure of one era, but the spark that opens up a new era. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know what's going to happen. That's up to us. Okay, that is up to us, how we want that chapter to begin. Do we want this to be the end of the American dream, or whatever you want to call it? Do we want that to be the end? Do we want this time in history to become the end of what we, Constitution and all that, what we define as the United States? Okay? Or are we going to end what is trying to end our country and save it so that we can come back as a stronger country in the next chapter? That's the more hopeful outlook. That's kind of how I felt last year when Kamala Harris was running. That I figured that, her victory would create the beginning of a new era in American history, because she could bring in the hope that we needed. Too many of us don't believe in hope anymore, so it was easy for us to believe that she was just feeding us bullshit. So what happens? Everybody's going over to the Republican side. Okay? So what's going to happen now, people? And this is up to you. I'm asking you now, what do you want to see happen? Do you want to see this country just simply vanish and turn into a Trump country? Or do you want to save this thing before it dies and have it come back stronger than ever? Okay? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of work done either way. But what I'm saying is that, this country, we live in it, we're all part of it. Without us, there is no country. Think about that. I mean, yeah, it's a piece of land, all right, at the end of the day. But we're living on that piece of land, and we are creating a system that we live by here. If it means anything to us, we will fight to keep it. But if we don't like it anymore, then it's dead before even the fight begins. So we are the health or the unhealth of what our system is. If we just let things fall apart and don't fix it, yeah, naturally people are going to want to get rid of it. But if we want to fight for it and fix it and make it fair so that way we can have that American dream back again, then we have to fight to get it back. We have to invest ourselves into it. We have to put of ourselves into that fight. It won't happen on its own. It can't fix itself. We are the ones that elect the people that run the country. We're also the same people that remove those people who don't do the job to run this country. All right? But if you keep picking the wrong people for the wrong reasons, your country gets sicker and sicker and sicker till it just fucking dies. So that's why I'm saying, do you want this country to die? Okay? Or do you want to actually start a new chapter where we take and get rid of the poison in this country, the cancer, and come back stronger than ever? I think the rest of the world would love it to see a comeback of the United States. They say Americans love a comeback. Let's prove it. Let's prove it this from here on out. Let's prove to the world that Americans like a comeback, and we want our country to come back, because we've lost it. Right now, we've lost it, and we're still losing pieces of it as we get to the end of the year here. And that's why we cannot allow a pedophile, in my opinion. Okay, I know everyone's gonna say, I ain't been proven yet. Okay, I don't need the dots drawn for my taste. Okay, I can already tell you he's deeply into this shit. Okay, but if you want to see a pedophile bring down this country, if that's okay with you, then you and I have nothing to talk about. It's not a political discourse anymore. It's a moral discourse that we have. We disagree on moral grounds. Okay? So we have nothing to talk about if you want to see a pedophile continue. But if you don't, you stand with me. You stand with me and all others like me. And there's a lot. Believe me, you're not alone. You're not going to stand alone. There's a lot of people out there who are willing to fight to keep this country and bring it back stronger than ever. And that's what we got to do from here, and we have to stay together in this thing. You cannot let someone that's as corrupt as Trump ever get his claws so deep in our country that it can't come back. Okay, I mean, it's really that simple, I think. And I know it's not simple on the road to get rid of what the problem is, but it happens in steps. It happens in steps. That's the way Russians think too about things, is that, you know, things don't change immediately. It takes steps to get things to change. And it's the same everywhere, I think. So we need to take those steps, all of us together, to push out the cancer that's in our fucking government right now. And right now it's MAP. MAP is the cancer. And as soon as we get rid of them, then we can begin the process of healing our government, getting it back the way it was, and going from there, you know. So I just, you know, hey, we have to stay committed here to this. The minute we give up, they've won. We can't let that happen. We just can't. We can't let these people win. Okay, and I ain't speaking about it like this as a football game. I'm talking about this as right versus wrong. All right, right and wrong. And you know, the right wing out there has been wrong for so many things over so many years. Okay, they never get it right. They always take the wrong side of every fucking issue and they tout that as the right thing, and it's not. So we've let them do that too long in this country, and this is partly why we're here. So we got to push that aside. We got to push them aside. All right. If you're not with us, you're against us. You know. Okay, so that's it for today. Hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend and upcoming week, and I hope you'll keep your ears open for any health issues out there, and subscribe, comment, share, and work with your neighbors, help them out, just be there for them, for each other out there, because times are going to get rough, and we're going to need that extra help. So do that, and I will talk to you guys later, so take care, everybody.